This episode is brought to you by Anglers Marine in Clayton Supply and Morehead City, Carolina's premier dealer.
We have Renee Baker and Kurt Winborn. We're talking about the upcoming King Mackerel Tournament, the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament. And for those who are not aware of this, and I'll be very candid, I was not as aware of it as I am now after I've talking to our guests. This program is unique, and it has a special, if you will, a special slogan with it. And I'm going to get our guest to explain that to us. We have first, and I want to welcome Renee Baker. She is, in addition to being treasurer for the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, she's also in charge of the Ladies Auxiliary Organization, involved in that, as well as being a member of the Atlantic Beach Town Council. And with that, Renee, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us, Lockwood.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate this, especially in light of the fact that you've got a lot of things going. And we have also joining us this afternoon, Kurt Winborn. He is chairman of the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, but also, and I've got to give him an opportunity to tell us something about his business, Engineering Fluid Systems, LLC. And with that, Kurt, good afternoon.
Thanks so much, Lockwood.
All right, before I get too far into this, Engineering Fluid Systems, tell me what exactly is that?
Oh, okay. Well, we are a manufacturer's representative that cover the Carolinas, and we do commercial plumbing and HVAC equipment.
Okay.
Primarily larger equipment like domestic water booster pump systems for
Right.
high-rise
As a matter
buildings.
of fact, I've got to mention, we were talking earlier, apparently, you were able to get water to the 32nd floor in Durham, or whatever.
It was the 26th floor,
26th floor.
of the Novus. That very scary. I was glad it was there, that's for sure.
So, yeah, water only goes so far. 16 feet, am I correct? Something like that?
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, the normal pressure is around 40 or 50 pounds at the street,
yeah.
But when you have a high-rise building like that with so many rooms and you have all the water consumption from
Right.
showers, etc., it takes quite a lot to boost that water up there.
Okay, I just want to make mention of that. Engineering Fluid Systems, LLC. We've got the president and the owner of it here with us this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Winborn.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk here for a moment about the upcoming Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament. And, of course, that's coming up here. It's a whole month-long program. It's a whole month-long tournament. We're going to talk about the justification for that. But it has a slogan. Kurt, I'm going to go to you for the slogan.
Well, our slogan is "We Fish for Life."
Okay.
And that was coined by our dear friend Mark Story at Weimar Advertising. But it speaks directly to what our tournament is about. And we buy life-saving equipment for our Atlantic Beach Fire and Rescue and ocean rescue people, and so we actually changed our website to that this year. You can look us up at wefishforlife.com.
Okay.
But it's very indicative of what the tournament's about.
All right, and we've got, of course, Renee Baker, in addition to her other activities, and I mentioned earlier that she's treasurer of the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, but she also sits on the board of Atlantic Beach. Let's talk about that for a moment. Renee, first off, you're a teacher, right?
Yes.
A reformed teacher.
Yes, exactly. In lots of different places. But as far as, my role on the Atlantic Beach Town Council, when our departments bring budget requests to us, there's wants and there's needs. And our town council does our best every year to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our departments. But when there are extra things that can allow in this case, our fire department to kind of go above and beyond the normal equipment that normal fire departments have, so that their rescues and the help and aid that they give to the community can happen even quicker, then that's kind of the role that we play as the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament.
But wait a second. Let's talk here for a moment, Renee. Atlantic Beach, population, roughly
17,000.
No, in population in Atlantic Beach?
Yeah, so primary residents, about 17,036 is what I read today.
17,000.
No, I'm so sorry. 1,736.
Okay, I'm sorry. I went.
It was wishful thinking.
We grew quickly.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
1,700. Okay.
Right.
But wait a second. Your 17,000 isn't far off the mark.
Very true.
Because in the summer, what are you looking at? And these are kind of hard numbers to identify because they're fluid. Literally, you've got day trippers as well as overnight visitors.
Right.
But and when I don't know a better description than day tripper, but anybody who's visiting day visitors, your population can expand.
Oh, upwards of 20,000, easy. And then whenever you look at a holiday weekend, then you're potentially doubling that.
Okay, so you have a fire and EMS department, oriented towards 1,730 some people. However, in the summertime, you have a fire and rescue department that needs to be prepared to provide a tremendous amount of assistance beyond just 1,700.
Absolutely. And not only right there in Atlantic Beach, one of the things that we try to impress upon people when we talk about the tournament is our Atlantic Beach Fire Department, although they do serve Atlantic Beach, they also serve the Coast Guard, and they aid in all of the other area fire departments as well. So it's not just right there in front of the circle on the beach.
Well, not only that, you have the Atlantic Ocean rolling into the edge of Atlantic Beach, and you have a lot of people swimming in the Atlantic Ocean. You have lifeguards. You have the need for water rescue. You also, Atlantic Beach is basically, with the exception of to the west, Pine Knoll Shores, Atlantic Beach is surrounded by water.
Absolutely.
So you have a lot of needs and services that aren't normally attributed to a 1,700 person community.
Right, or even just a community fire department.
Exactly. So I just want to make mention of that in light of what Kurt was just saying a few moments ago. Kurt Winborn with us. He's the this year's chairman of the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament. I'm going to go back to this, why it's a month-long event here in a few moments, but you're looking at a variety of services that the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament has already provided, plus those that you intend to provide as well?
Correct.
All right, let's talk about what you have over the years generated as a result of this tournament.
Well, speaking with Chief, I think he's calculated it's almost $500,000 that
we're talking Chief Mike Simpson.
Yes, sir. And since we brought the tournament back in its current form, this is our 8th year.
Okay.
In the current form, so
you've generated over $500,000 in 8 years.
He said close to $500,000. Yes, sir.
Okay, what has that resulted in? Some of the items.
Well, it's a super long list, but we started out with trying to get a new side-by-side, which is the Kawasaki mule that runs up and down the beach that can help with the rescue. So,
okay.
So, but now pretty much every piece of equipment on the ocean strand that Ocean Rescue uses, we have provided. All the four-wheelers, the side-by-sides, the rescue jet skis.
And those things are absolutely mandatory.
Oh, yes.
As a matter of fact, you've saved lives with those jet skis.
Oh, there's no doubt. Absolutely.
Renee, I'm sorry, I'm going to jump over to here again. You're with fine. Renee Baker, who's a member of the Atlantic Beach Town Council. You know, there was a period of time, and I'm going to say it goes back almost 10 years ago, when we had a series of drownings. Mm-hmm. Emerald Isle, Atlantic Beach, Fort Macon, and of course I point Fort Macon independently, although it's contiguous to Atlantic Beach, but Fort Macon, which is part of the state park service, and of course the Coast Guard station. But those kind of events damage not only the reputation for Atlantic Beach, but all of Carteret County.
Absolutely. And one of the things that, in fact, I've heard Chief Simpson say recently is that we have been rip current drowning free for the past 3 years in Atlantic Beach.
Knock on wood.
Exactly. And he attributes a lot of that to what we as a tournament have been able to provide.
I think that's an important issue here. And we're going to get into the tournament itself here in a few moments, but the background on the tournament, the value of the tournament, I think is what's important here. It's more than just a fishing tournament. As you said a few moments ago, Kurt, the title or the slogan for this is?
We Fish for Life.
We Fish for Life. And we're talking, of course, life-saving capacity, but also life quality issues as well. Let's talk about that, because I know that you've done something in the area of beach, I'm trying to think of a good term, beach conducive wheelchairs and facilities for those who are disabled, right?
Absolutely. That's they always say that's one of my favorite things that we've done. With,
You're going to get him choked up.
with some of our with our funding. Chief Simpson reached out and just said, Kurt, we've only got a couple of beach wheelchairs. They're not in great shape. He said, let's talk about it. So by the time it was over, we created the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Fishing Tournament Beach Wheelchair Program, where we've, with the help of a lot of sponsors and donations, we have 8 of the super expensive $3,000 wheelchairs.
8?
8. And we purchased a enclosed trailer that if you've been by the beach to the bathhouse, the fire department keeps it there for the lifeguards, their ocean rescue crew.
Mm-hmm.
And so that people can call in and check those out for free.
I'm sorry?
They can check those out for free.
I heard the word free.
Absolutely.
You know, Renee, to another aspect of this, and we'll take a quick break here in a few moments. Again, Renee Baker and Kurt Winborn with us here this afternoon on Viewpoints. We're talking about the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, and we're going to go back to why is it a month-long program. And Kurt also alluded to one other aspect of this when you took it back. It's been an 8-year program, and it's been reconstituted, if you will. But Renee, you know, it's interesting twofold. First, here, the town didn't have to worry about going through the process, in which municipalities do have to, you know, assuring that all the other departments are taken care of. You've gotten all of the proper, paperwork done. You've got to go out and do bids, things of this nature.
Right.
This facilitates this, and it just speeds things along, does it?
It does. And one of the things, too, that I like to add is we have partnered with sponsors that we've been able to give back to as well. And they believe in the program and they sponsor the tournament, and then we do business with them, kind of like what you were just saying. It's not like going out and getting 3 or 4 bids. We've been able to do that as well. So it's a true partnership between the sponsors and the fishermen and us in the fire department.
Okay, I'm curious as to the reconstitution of the tournament here in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Viewpoints, and this portion of the program has been pre-recorded, but I want to thank our guests, Kurt Winborn and Renee Baker. We're talking about the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament. It's Viewpoints on the talk station FM 107.1, and this afternoon we're pre-recording this portion of the program to accommodate the activities of our guest. We have joining us Renee Baker. She is a member of the Atlantic Beach Town Council. She's also treasurer and responsible for all the money, which apparently they've done very well with the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, and also the Ladies Auxiliary. And we have Kurt Winborn. I've got to go ladies to men first, Kurt, in spite of the fact that you're chairman. Just live with that, okay? Kurt, you said earlier, we've justified, I shouldn't say justified, we've proven the value of the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament. It's providing all of these services that not only benefit Atlantic Beach, and quite frankly, it benefits the visitors to Atlantic Beach first and foremost, not even the taxpayers per se, although, Renee, I would simply say the taxpayers benefit because people find that Atlantic Beach is a conducive, pleasant place to visit because the community cares.
Right.
And in many regards, that's what's coming out as a result of this Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament. Kurt, you said earlier that it was basically reconstituted. You've taken it back over the past 8 years. The tournament started years ago as the Hardy's King Mackerel Tournament,
Correct.
As I recall.
Correct.
And I know that it's gone through a variety of iterations. How did you come to this conclusion as an organization and over the past 8 years raise over $500,000, which apparently is going very quickly into services? I mean, I know that you're providing all sorts of life-saving services for fire and rescue. We're going to talk about the items for those who are suffering from heart attacks. You've got one instance where a lady was saved by that, and we're going to be interviewing her, by the way.
Wow.
So if Renee's doing her job, she's going to make that.
I've already got that contact set up. I talked with Nancy today, and she's
that's
she's
an important
eager.
story. So how did this come about, that the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, that over the past 8 years? What did you do to make it different?
We, first of all, when they asked us to bring the tournament back, my first thought was, why was the tournament no longer in existence?
Okay.
Because the Hardee's tournament, as everyone around here knows, was awesome. It was very successful. It did a lot of great things through the volunteer fire department, for the fire department. It's just really, really great. But toward the end of the last tenure of the tournament, it dwindled, and I think really what got it was weather. And so my first thing I did, I sat down with then Chief Adam Snyder, who was part of our initials meetings.
He was the second chief, by the way, for the town of Atlantic Beach.
I said, right. And I just said, Chief, what happened to the tournament? Why is it not here anymore?
Right.
So we could avoid those mistakes. And he said, well, Kurt, to tell you the truth, to give an example, last year we spent a lot of money, a lot of time, fire department effort, putting the tournament on. At the last minute, a hurricane got us. All the fishermen, rightly so, didn't want to fish in a hurricane. Right. And he said, and we ended up making about $3,000 that year. And he said we just couldn't justify
the work involved to make $3,000 just wasn't worth it.
And I always tell people, my comment was, well, we could have a bake sale and make $3,000.
Yeah.
So we got to do something different. So we sat down with a lot of the older guys from the tournament, and in particular a fellow named Skip Conklin, who was our rules chairman for a long time, and he was also on the board of the old one. Said, Kurt, let's think about what we can do to avoid the hurricane. So that's where we came up with the idea of having a tournament over 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, but we have the rules so you can still only weigh 2 fish during the 3 weeks. But that if you have a bad weather weekend this weekend, fish next weekend. If you have a soccer match with your kids in Raleigh on the weekend, come fish Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right.
So it just gives so much opportunity for people to fish. And we had not really great weather 1 or 2 tournaments, but we still had great tournaments because guys could get enough days to weigh a lot of fish and be very competitive. So that's, I think, been our biggest thing.
You did one other thing, and again, we've discussed this in advance, and I thank you for letting me do that too. But you also arranged to have this tournament done in such a fashion that if I don't own a big boat, I still have the ability to go out and fish.
Correct. We kind of wanted it to be a little bit of the everyman tournament because there's a lot of guys that can't afford a $500,000 big center console, but they still want to be in the tournament. So our entry fee is very low, $300. And our biggest thing is we shrunk the boundaries to Drum Inlet. Back this way, so if it's blowing 30 knots, a guy with a 21 foot's not going to be able to make
the idea of this the idea of this when I'm hearing that conversation is to go out and really have fun, not just fish for fish, but have fun.
We have, and that's exactly what we do. We have a great time, and people are loyal. They fish the tournament from day one. They're still fishing it.
All right, when does it start? It
starts October 5th. But we have our big captain's party at the Civic Center October 4th.
Okay.
That Friday evening. And then it goes for the 3 weeks. It's over at 1 o'clock on that last Saturday. All the contestants fish are weighed, and the award, the money won is tabulated. Then we have an awards banquet at the Crow's Nest on that Saturday night.
Okay.
So.
All right. Kurt, Renee, and of course Kurt Wimborne and Renee Baker with us this afternoon. We're talking about the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, and I'm going to mention this at the opening, as I should have earlier, that it starts October 5th, but the captain's meeting's October 4th.
Yes. And
it's over the 3 weeks of weeks of October.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So actually it starts Seafood Festival weekend, I might add.
Exactly.
All right. I think the important story here is that again, going back to the slogan, fishing for life. We fish for life. And the fact that what's happening is this is money that's raised that directly impacts not only the residents of Atlantic Beach, but all the residents of Carteret County, because all the businesses benefit from the tourism in Atlantic Beach. And then also all of those visitors who are coming to the area. They benefit as well. And, really, I'm confident that when Mike Simpson and the crew are rushing out there to save a life or provide some assistance, they don't ask, are you from Carteret County or you're a tourist?
Let me see some identification.
Yeah, they just do it. And I think that's an important story. And I think that's a credit to Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament. All right, Kurt, Renee will be wrapping it up here. My question to you then is, what does it look like for 2024? And are you pleased so far with the support, not only from your sponsors, but what you're hearing from other fishermen? Kurt?
2024 is going to be another awesome tournament. We are actually ahead of last year, and I think, sponsors come and go, and we've had great participation, and we're actually surprised at how well we've done this year with the economy.
You need sponsors. You want sponsors, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. How can they get hold of you to get sponsorship?
Well, they can absolutely go to wefishforlife.com.
Okay, wefishforlife.com. Okay,
and you can see all of our sponsorship levels. Renee is pretty much in charge of garnering all the sponsors, and if you're going to be setting aside some money in your budget to donate for doing some good in the community, just give our tournament a thought because we really do. We're a 501c3. We have 0 salaried employees. Everyone's a volunteer, and pretty much everything we make goes back to the fire department. And
why did you do this? Why are you getting involved?
Well, I had a friend of mine, Eddie Briley, sit there and asked me about it, and it just struck a chord with me. Like I'm busy as sure as everyone else is, and but knowing something you can do to help save someone's life, that's kind of important.
Renee, that's Kurt Winborn. Renee, I'm going to let you wrap it up. As a member not only of the committee, but also a member of the Town of Atlantic Beach Board, this is an important story.
Oh, it's absolutely important, and it's an everyday thing. I mean, there are lots of stories where what our guys do with the fire department helps save lives every day, and it's our goal not only to have life saving, but like you said earlier, life enhancing properties like our beach wheelchair program. And two of the focuses this year are Moby mats, which are mats that allow both walkers and beach wheel users to get out to right next to the ocean a lot easier, as well as purchasing another autopulse machine, which is one of our stories. In fact, Nancy, that you're going to be talking with, was saved by that autopulse, because that frees up 2 hands of EMS workers to be able to do other things to speed up the process of someone that's having a cardiac arrest.
Again, we call it the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament, but really, in many regards, because of the benefit Atlantic Beach provides to the rest of the county as a tourism attraction, as a business attraction, and also as just a community that is part of our greater county, really, this is more than just Atlantic Beach. Kurt, would you agree with me on that one?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I think you both have done an outstanding job. $500,000 in 8 years. Wow. All right. To Renee Baker, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for helping us get this out, because like Kurt often says, we're a wonderful cause with a nice little fishing tournament. And so, well, I think you say it better, but our cause is why we do what we do.
And Kurt, thank you as well.
You're so welcome, and thanks so much for this. This means a lot. And like I said, I think the more the people learn about this tournament and what we actually do, I think the more they'll want to be involved.
Absolutely. I want to again thank Renee Baker, who is the treasurer and also Ladies Auxiliary, but also a member of the Atlantic Beach Town Council, and Kurt Winborn, chairman of this year's Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament. And remind everyone, October 4th is the captain's party. October 5th is the start of the tournament. You can still join in as well. Go to the website wefishforlife.com, correct?
Absolutely.
wefishforlife.com.